Hello, everyone. Hello, Farmer Klein. Glad you got your system fixed at work. Yes, I am too. It would have made for a very long night and perhaps a very long weekend as well. Fabio, welcome. No in-game sound. There should be some in-game sound. Do you not hear that? And Joshua, yes, I finally get to watch live. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We're going to zoom past our pedestrians there before we get too much of that music on the video. Don't want to run the risk of getting a copyright flag there. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful evening, and my apologies for A, being late, and B, being somewhat undecided as to whether or not I was going to stream tonight. I went into the office this morning around my usual time, about 6:30, and everything was running fine. And about an hour or so before I was about to leave, we had some system problems, and I think it was kind of self-inflicted. One of my guys did something that, well, he didn't do anything wrong. He just applied a patch that was sort of scheduled to do, and we had some problems. And anyway, it was a system that was needed for this weekend, and so we just needed to get that resolved. So anyway, we are heading up to Bubba says, okay, Fabio says I can hear you now. Good. Okay. Bubba is, hey, haven't haven't heard for you in a minute. Okay, well, it's been probably a little longer than a minute. I took most of the summer off from both recording, and I haven't streamed in quite a long time. Been something that I have wanted to do. I've wanted to return to streaming. It's something I do enjoy because A, it's kind of easy because I just need to stream, and um, the videos archive, and I had some problems with that on Friday night, but got that sorted out. So really and truthfully, we're kind of back into the swing of things. Now, as I was saying, we are going to do a mixture of things during tonight's live stream. Probably the main task that we do need to get done is we've got to pick the grass up from our grass field that we mowed in the live stream from, when was that? Maybe Tuesday night? Um, yeah, I think it was Tuesday night. We need to get that picked up. We need to also take this fruit and veg down and just sell it really quick, just trying to keep some money coming in. We brought up our third pallet of lumber also on Tuesday, and I think we're going to have probably another pallet, maybe the final pallet that we can bring up here in just a few minutes and finish that honey factory off. So that would be good. And so yeah, so also most likely I'm going to, maybe before we start picking up the grass, because I don't know, it's going to take some time and maybe some off-camera work to finish the rest of the picking up of the grass. So we'll probably save that for the last task to do. But in addition to this, we're also going to go ahead and stage our slurry equipment, because we've got about 100,000 liters of slurry. So don't know if that will completely do that field, but we're going to at least stage the equipment so that maybe tomorrow or in the next game day we'll spread that slurry in this field here to my right or to my left. That's the grass that we're going to pick up for silage purposes. So anyway, I would like to see you and Farmer Klein together in a live stream. Well, maybe someday we can make that happen. Okay, yeah, I'm going to the main farm to sell the produce. And if this is your first live stream, at least of this series, that you're catching on my channel, we'll just tell you that this is a South Mountain Creamery map. This is an edit that was done by Eustace Pharmer, so it's a little different from the default map that is available on the Giants Mod Hub. So a few things have changed. Well, actually, I think quite a few things have actually changed that I should clarify. And some of those are just some of these sell points that he added. I also added a few barns and things of that nature. So Um, and then we'll go ahead and drop this stuff off, and it will just go ahead and sell while we go ahead and head up to the forestry area. Now, we cut some trees down on Tuesday's live stream, maybe about 10 I think it was. That's probably going to get us at least quite a long ways into the lumber that we're going to need for the work that we're going to have, but I do want to go up and pick up a couple of those, or at least one of those wood pallets of wood, so we can bring down to the other factory. We'll check on the beehive construction process as well that Mickey is working on up there, and um, and then, like I said, we're going to stage the slurry equipment out onto that field, and then start picking up the grass and dumping that off into the silage silos. So here we are at the lumber mill. So I think the lumber mill that is right this area over there, I think, is probably on the map by default. This is the area that Eustace Pharmer had added to the map. It's got the Marhu sawmill on it, and it's got the beehive construction facility. So those are all cool. So let's not make the same mistake we did the other day. We will do that, and we're going to go ahead and turn on the work mode, because that will just make getting those loaded up a little bit quicker for us. And head over here and see if we've got a beehive ready. Not quite, but Mickey is working on that. I picked on him the other night because he's not wearing safety glasses. He really should be wearing safety glasses out here in the wood shop. He's got his ear protection on, but he does need some glasses. But he did manage to get one beehive done, so it's in the back of the truck, and maybe we'll just let that collect a couple of more before we run those all the way up to that factory. This version of the map is going to be for download. No, Fabio, I'm sorry. It's a private edit that Eustace did, so it's not available. But you could certainly download the version that is out on the Giants Mod Hub and make these changes and everything yourself if you so desire. But it's a little, it's a little bit of an issue when well, it's not an issue to make edits of a map, but it certainly is an issue to make edits of a map and then make those available for download. And so Eustace shared these with me simply because he is in the process of moving, and that I can do better than that. Come on, Jerry. He's in the process of moving, and so he was not going to be able to play his series on the map, and so he was kind enough to share that with me, and so you guys kind of get to see a little bit of a different version of this map, and stuff that we do different. I know there's a couple of folks that are playing this map, including Farmer Klein, doing quite a great job with that, but obviously different maps, and we're doing different things differently that way. In case you guys want to catch his streams and my streams, it's not going to always be a duplication of efforts. But I really do like this map. I like maps that are based on sort of real world locations, and we are playing this map as close as we possibly can to how the real South Mountain Creamery operates in the real world up in Maryland. And we're only running dairy cows and obviously the chickens, but we're not doing sheep or pigs. And let's see, Joshua Williams, what kind of controller do you use, if you don't mind me asking? No, I certainly don't mind you asking. I am using the Logitech G27, and I use that for all of my driving type games, so basically ATS, ETS2, and Farm Sim. So it would be, I've often said this, and it's true. It's kind of how I feel about things. I have pure farming. I have cattle and crops, and I am aware that I believe it was Pure Farming finally released an update for the G27, but I haven't had a chance to check that out, and not sure if I ever will. just because we're so close to the release of 19, and I really enjoy the Giants version. But I wasn't interested in playing some of those other agricultural-based simulation games simply because they didn't work out of the box with the controllers, and I don't want to do keyboard and mouse, and I'm not real keen on playing with like a Logitech type Xbox controller simply because it's so much more immersive to play with a steering wheel and um, accelerator pedals, brakes, and stuff like that. And I do hope we were talking the other night. Hello, Huntmaster. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that so much. We were talking on the stream. As a matter of fact, we've kind of been. I think this is my third live stream that I've done on this particular series, and pretty much all of this series, unless I run into some more problems with getting the archives to save, or if I have internet issues or whatever, pretty much this entire series is going to be done via live stream. But we've been talking about on the live stream, because this is kind of what I've labeled a farewell to 17, because most likely this will be the last map that I will play on Farm Sim 17, especially with the Seasons mod. But we've kind of been talking about what our wish lists are for Farm Sim 19, and hopes and dreams and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it's the big news was John Deere, and now we can sell and deliver milk again, and that's not necessarily a big thing for us PC users, because we've always, at least with my experience with 15 and 17, we've always had the ability to implement the stop milk cell mod, but of course console folks have not had that ability or had that luxury, so that's coming now. But I really do hope, of all of the things that I've kind of heard about, I kind of hope that Giants will um, make their controller support a little bit more robust than maybe what it currently is. Um, yep, Joshua just finished my sentence for me, so thank you for that. Yeah, a little bit, and it's not bad now. It's just not. If I sort of look at and compare, and I often do that, and maybe it's unfair to compare Farm Sim with ATS or ETS2, but in a sense, or at least in my thinking, they're very similar in the sense that they are driving games, and they're very similar in look and feel and stuff like that, and ATS and ETS2 have so much better and easier controller support. Let me shut that engine off so it doesn't just run all the day. Has much better controller support out of the box. I mean, it literally, at least it's been my experience, that both ATS and ETS2 just automatically see everything, your controllers, and configure everything pretty much for you. Yeah, there's a few things that you kind of have to do, but it's so much easier. And 15 and 17 have been a lot more difficult, especially if you want to, configure both, say for example, a G27 steering wheel setup, and also say a joystick. It's not super easy to do that, and it can be done, obviously. I mean, if I was able to do it, anybody can do it. And it was one of my first videos that I recorded on Farm Sim 15, was kind of how I went about getting that set up, and um, so anyway, hopefully they will put better controller support in the game. I would think that some of these other game manufacturers, I was kind of critical over both Cattle and Crops as well as Farmer's Dynasty, because both of those games came out, although they came out in sort of in beta format or early access format, whatever you want to call it, but they came out with a lack of third-party controller support. And it's kind of like, well, it's a simulation-based game. You're operating equipment, tractors, trucks, what have you, combines, etc. You really should have put some controller support in, so that folks that have these devices can, use those devices on those games, and it would certainly make things a lot better. Fabio is asking what happened to Green River. Green River is still on my hard drive, and I don't know if I will finish any of that up or not. I'm not sure if there was any demand for it, to be honest. The views had really dropped off on Green River because I think that so many other people had played it. Not that I necessarily use that as any kind of a barometer or indicator or anything as to what I choose to do and how I do it, but if I get some time, I might bring it back. All right, so let's see, chat. There's a few more new machines for FS19. I hope to see more. Yeah, I think you know, the fact sheet Fridays obviously will be coming out over time, and you know, I think we've had 3 to date, so we presumably will get a new one tomorrow, a new fact sheet Friday, and hopefully that will reveal some new equipment that we can look forward to having on FarmSim 19. And I will just say, just in case there's folks that are lurking out there on the stream, if you are not a subscriber, I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. And likewise, if you're a subscriber, thank you for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a friend. And I would appreciate it if you would hit the like button. That also helps as well. All right, so we will back up to this guy. We're just going to take it out there and stage it and basically get it ready for putting slurry into for the fertilization on the grass that we're going to pick up after we pick it up. And like I said, we'll most likely do that in the next game day. If I bring up our forecast, and again, if you're also just tuning in to this live stream and you haven't taken the opportunity or had the opportunity to watch the other live streams or even the episode 0, which I kind of explain how things are going to go for this series, then you may not know that all the planting has been done, the plowing has been done, the fertilization has been done on all the crops. So we basically have 2 fields of corn. There's our cornfield over there, and then we've got 2 fields of wheat. So the corn is going to be used for silage purposes as well as some of the grass, and then obviously the wheat will be used for straw, and we will sell the wheat as well. So those are tasks and things that we will do, you know, obviously later in the late summer or fall, but we've got quite an interesting forecast. So basically I started this series, or started the live streams on the last game day of spring. We did a couple of we've done a couple of live streams and an episode on it with regards to let's see, where do I want to put this so it's not going to be in the way. We've done a couple of live stream and videos and everything within the last game day of spring. This is really technically the second game day of, or the second episode that I've done on the last, or the first game day of summer. I'll get it out here in just a moment. But if you look, our summer weather forecast is a bit rainy looking. So that was kind of one of the reasons why we got to get the grass cut. And we've already cut 1 field of grass and we turned that into hay. And then of course we cut grass at the tail end of the last live stream, and now we're gonna collect that here momentarily. But so got a lot to do. Might still be able to mow a little bit. I mean, it kind of depends on when the rain comes and how quickly it dries out and everything. It's just always a little bit of a challenge because you certainly don't want to get caught out with, and I just realized I didn't speed my time up, so we'll run it ×5 for a little while. But you've always got to be a little bit careful because you certainly don't want to get called out with the rain, because you will lose some of your grass yield because of that if you're not careful with the Seasons mod, of course. And Was that your real world summer weather there, Farmer Klein, that you're talking about being so wet? I wish I could say the same thing here in Colorado. This was quite a dry summer. It wasn't so hot. I do have to, I guess, be thankful for that. It could have certainly been worse. But we had a little bit of a dry season, and of course that contributed to some fires that we had here in Colorado. Of course, I'm sure everyone has been made aware of the fires in California and even other places. It's been quite a bad fire season, I think, kind of all around. Okay, is that not the or am I hitting the wrong button? Farmer Klein, isn't this where we get the slurry? I first need to fill the tool. Yeah, I realize that. I have 200 cows, Fabio. Huntmaster says we had a dry summer, but fall has been wet. Only 20% of the crop is off our area. Not good. This is for pigs? Okay. Oh, I see now. I see where the pipe runs. All right. Looks like our cows are here, maybe. There we go. I hit it that time. Hello, Doug Zorley. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, I have 200 cows. Actually, maybe 201. I think one was born in the previous game day. Courtney asks, what geo am I using? I'm using the Minnesota geo. That was kind of the closest one that I found that I thought sort of suited the weather patterns for Maryland. I don't think that there is like a New England geo, at least not yet, and so. So I would suspect that with the Minnesota geo, we certainly will have a bit of snow, and that's going to be fine. Aussie geo is the best. I'm sure it is, but you know, we're not in Australia. Let's see. It's been quite a while since I've used this. So let's see if we can figure out where the. I don't think a tractor has to, or do we have to pipe out? Probably. I can't remember. We'll try that and see. Bruno, welcome to the stream. If you could speak English, I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. Let's see if this is going to work. It does not. Aussie Geo is backwards. Yeah, I think it probably is. All right, what am I doing wrong, guys? This is making a mockery of me, which is not hard to do. Unless I've got to turn, do I need to turn it on? Press B, okay. Do I need to pipe out now? Making a mockery of me. Hey DC, how are you? No, you're not late. I'm still bumbling around here trying to figure out how to get this thing to work. So I've hit B and nothing is working. What gives, guys? Press R. I'm pressing R. Nothing is working. I'm pretty sure I used the same setup on hook it up to the tractor. Hook it up to the tractor, press the tilde and type fill, and then I don't. Hey, Doughboy. All right. Well, you know something. Life is just a little bit too short to spend more time than that messing about with it, so we'll tackle that some other time. Yeah, I kind of got that, DC. All right, so I did do the pipe out, Doughboy. I tried it with the pipe out, tried it with pulling up to all sides of it. Pipe out, pipe in, R key, I key, turning it on, turning it off. All right. We'll get in our John Deere and go pick up some grass and try to redeem ourselves here. What you doing tonight, Doughboy? You hauling something? Okay, so we've got these silage silos, and they hold 100,000 liters of silage apiece. So what we're going to do is we'll fill those up, and this is a 50,000 liter capacity forage wagon. So we'll do that for a little bit, and then that should take us to the bottom of the hour, and I'll let you guys get on to other things. I'm kind of pooped today. Tie dynamite to the side, light it, and presto, the whole map is covered in slurry. You know something? I am just about tempted to do that. Well, if anything, I should be able to fill the slurry sprayer apparatus out of that black tank. I would think so. I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe there you need to have a tractor attached to the slurry tank. I don't know. I can't remember how I did it. I think I used that in Pine Cove Farm. Pretty sure I used that exact same equipment, and it worked just fine. Even set up a course play route to basically run and fill it, keep it constantly filled. I think I even did a YouTube video on it, so I know that I know it works. I know that that tank works, and it's supposed to be able to be filled from that tank. All right, Fabio, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening and have a terrific Friday. Doughboy is hauling cattle to North Carolina. All right, well, be safe out there. All right, Huntmaster, thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Have a great night yourself, and have a good Friday. Fridays are the day we all look forward to, or at least those of us that work Monday through Friday. Mondays are grueling, but you start feeling a little bit better come Wednesday, especially Wednesday afternoon, because then it's all downhill from there. Come on, Bessie. Just stopped a whopper at BK. Yeah, I agree, DC. Just about every work day is rough. All right, we'll fill these up first, and then fill the one that's a little bit closer up last. Well then, DC, you're a few months away from your really busy season as well. So if it's already hectic now, I can only imagine what it's gonna be like for you. You may have to stock up on more lead for that pencil of yours. They were already planted in grass. The two fields, 42 and 31. So it's just, I'm assuming this is just map grass. So probably not the best yield and everything, but, and especially didn't plow this or anything, but I think it's going to work out just fine. We're going to get a lot of chaff out of the two cornfields, and may actually, after we fill up those 3 silos, which is going to give us 300,000 liters of grass and eventually silage, I may off camera go ahead and tether the rest of whatever's left out here on this field and go ahead and pick that up as hay and put that away, because we will have access to being able to cut that corn into chaff, most likely late summer or very early fall, and I would think that 300,000 liters of silage should do us until then. Of course, I'd know for sure if I took the time to crunch the numbers with Farmer Klein's nifty spreadsheet. By the way, folks, if you play the Seasons mod and you are not aware of Farmer Klein's spreadsheet, he devised a very cool spreadsheet that you can plug in your variables, the number of animals that you have, the number of game days that you're playing within each season, and it will tell you an approximation, I suppose, of just how much silage, how much straw, how much hay that you're going to need for your animals. And it's actually quite cool, and I didn't bother taking the time to do that. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, I suppose. But I think we're going to be okay with 300,000 liters of silage with 200 cows. Especially considering that these silage silos um, will produce silage a lot quicker than dumping the silage in the silage pits. But we may still have to do that as well, just simply because obviously we're going to have a lot of corn chaff. But I'm just absolutely horrible at compacting silage. I was so spoiled to it in Farm Sim 15 because it was quite easy to do. It didn't have quite the impact on the vehicle like it does in 17, as far as your tractor getting easily stuck in it. Looks like we've got some clouds coming in. Hopefully the rain will hold itself off long enough to get this off the field. The wheelie is awesome every time. Not sure what you mean by that. Pretty cool information came out from Giants today. If you have not caught that, information, head over to the Simulation Gaming Society Discord server, and you can get the information that Doug Zorley posted about that. It includes a video from Giants as well as some additional photographs and stuff, and it's quite interesting. Oh, when I was dumping the grass the last time. Okay. Yeah, I suppose it maybe kicks up a little bit. Those fields can be fertilized. These can, yeah. I've already put one. I think I put one or two levels of fertilization on it. I don't think it's. I'm pretty sure I didn't get all three levels, or I didn't get it to all three levels for the grass fields. But yeah, it takes fertilizer. So you're saying you're a pro, Doughboy? Okay, well, how much do you charge per hour? I kind of hope that for 19, of course, we may have to wait till 21 or maybe 23. But I'm kind of hoping that for 19, the animals will be a little bit more, the AI that controls the animals will be a little bit more aware of vehicles and such as that. I would really rather not have, there we go, popped a wheelie that time. I'd really rather not have the immersion blown um, with animals walking through your, oh, there's the rain. The rain that wasn't in the forecast yet. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure Doug Zorley, if he's still listening, and Farmer Klein, I think that one of the cool things about 19 is going to be how the clouds more kind of depict weather coming on, so we'll kind of be able to see a weather system coming in maybe before it arrives. That's kind of cool. They'll be dynamic now. It'll be handy. Yep. Of course, I don't know how it will work if we're playing at, you know, um, at a faster speed than, you know, one real time. Um, it may not work so well. And for any of you ATS fans out there, if you have been eagerly awaiting the new Oregon DLC, your wait is almost over. The Oregon DLC will release next Thursday, a week from today. I don't know what time that's going to be based on, if it's going to be US time or European time, but it is scheduled to release on Thursday, October the 4th. So Oregon is here. I think Giants is going to have to, or not Giants, but SES is going to have to try to convince Pro Mods or somebody to step up and really aggressively start putting some additional states together, because otherwise we're all going to be really old men before all of the US is done. It was interesting because when ATS first came out, and this has been what, 2006 was when or 2016 was when ATS came out. Um, I saw out on the ProMods website, I saw that they were looking for help for ATS, and so nothing ever really became of that. And so I was out on the ProMods website looking to see if I could maybe figure out when the new updated ProMods would be released for ETS2. And I ventured off into the threads of their forums and started reading some of the threads. And ProMods made a statement basically saying that one of the reasons why the project for ATS has really never come about has been because SES kind of continues to change um, things on them so frequently enough that they have to kind of stop and start. And so, of course, the coast to coast map, that's actually made quite a bit of progress since it first came out. And actually the Midwest on coast to coast is looking pretty good. I mean, if you kind of look at it from the map, they've got quite a bit of, you know, like Kansas and Oklahoma. Colorado looks good. Of course, a lot of it is cut and paste, but still they've got quite a few of the highways and everything in. And so Farmer Klein is saying that he found an article that listed a price for $11.99 for Oregon. Well, I think that sounds fair, especially considering that from what I've heard, it's going to introduce a lot of new elements to the game as far as the logging industry and stuff like that. So I guess that sounds fair. I mean, obviously we need them to stay in business. So whatever they deem as necessary to, you know, whatever value that they set for that. Courtney says, as for ATS, the reason SES hasn't gotten much done is because they have to look and see how the states are, as they don't know how the states look in the roads. I would, they're making every building as they make. Yeah, I mean, maybe I buy that partially. I think though that I think as far as building the roads and laying all that out, I would think that you know, Google Maps, Google Earth, whatever, would provide them, you know, the template for where all the major roads and everything are. But you're right. I mean, as far as building in the buildings and stuff like that, I guess they've done a pretty good job of the major cities that they've incorporated in the map, like LA, San Francisco, and such. I guess they've done a fairly good job of recreating those. Oregon is a big state. I wasn't thinking they would come back up to Pacific part of the map. Yeah, I think a lot of folks, well, obviously they're gonna, I don't know why I'm doing that. You know, obviously they're gonna do things concurrently. They're gonna connect the states, which obviously, you know, makes the most sense. I would suspect that the next state that they do could very possibly be Texas, although again that's a fairly big state, but that would give folks a lot of road to run, going from Southern California all the way across Texas. Hello Scott, hello Twisted Eagle, welcome to the stream, thanks for stopping by. We are picking up grass from our field. When we cut it this morning, the weather forecast was not calling for rain today. We did have the 5 days of rain that you see up there Monday through Friday, which represents the second through the sixth game day of summer. We are playing 6 game day seasons this time around. So there was no rain, but hi ho. But anyway, I think the key for SES is to, you know, either help Mantrid, the guy that sort of spearheaded and got the coast to coast thing going. Of course, he's got a lot of help as well. I mean, he sort of opened it up to other map modders to help him lay things out. And the cool thing about that is he has sort of assigned various the areas and everything to other folks. And I happen to notice that the Colorado area that has been done was by somebody that actually lives in Colorado, and they've done a pretty good job of getting things laid out the way that it looks in real life. Um, Even so much as going in and putting in an IKEA where it basically is here in Denver, and there's a well, it's not called Six Flags anymore, but there was a Six Flags downtown. They've got a Ferris wheel down there and some other things that are kind of Denver-esque. All right, Doughboy, have a good, safe drive. Be careful and all that good stuff. Don't don't get any speeding tickets. Jamie says SES moved offices last year and hired more staff, which has put them behind a bit. Cool. Well, hiring the more staff is a good thing. Hopefully that will speed stuff up. Of course, they're working. They're making ETS2 has come a long way since I've been playing that, and of course with the help of ProMods and the Russia map project and a few others. But still, they have coming out with more stuff. I think that's what everybody wants. Is we want more trucks. We want more cargo type loads, and um, the own trailers. That's really cool. I've got to admit that I wasn't personally that excited about the own trailers. Obviously, I was really excited about the doubles and triples just because here in the U.S. we see so many of those. But as far as the own trailers go, it was kind of, well, if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, it's not going to be any big deal. But I've got to admit that I've actually had quite a bit of fun with that. It's kind of changed the dynamics of the game a little bit for me, and added some additional immersion and everything. So that's been quite cool. And that's right, we are getting some new trucks for ATS, and when things settle down, and what I mean by when things settle down is obviously um, Truckers MP um, is I think, to my knowledge, is not yet um, has not been updated yet for all the 1.32 changes that have come out, and obviously with Oregon coming out next week, that's probably going to delay Truckers MP getting Oregon added into the multiplayer server. But once that happens, maybe if some folks here would like to do some online multiplayer convoys, some trucking and stuff like that, maybe we can do that. Courtney says they have updated. Okay, cool. That was pretty quick, because I know that the last time, I would consider that 132 is a pretty major, was a pretty major update. Lots of stuff came about with that. I think that the last time that they had a pretty major update, it took them much longer to get the multiplayer stuff patched and get it all loaded up. Courtney, do you know if they've incorporated own trailers in multiplayer? Can you do that? And hopefully they'll come out with more trailer selection. I would like to see a tanker, like a fuel tanker. I think that would be kind of cool, to be able to, haul fuel from a refinery to a gas station. And Courtney says he does not know. Well, maybe if I'm bored tomorrow, maybe I'll go out and study and see if they're going to do the own trailers on multiplayer. Of course, it might not be, I don't know if you could do, obviously you wouldn't want to pick fuel up from a gas station or truck stop, but perhaps if they could figure out how to do partial loads, where you go to a refinery and you fill up with however many 1,000 liters one of those tankers will hold, and the first stop you've got to make is a truck stop on, I-10 or something, and then you've got to drive 100 miles or so to the next town and go to another truck stop or a gas station or something and deliver some more fuel. And of course, when the doubles came out, I was kind of hoping that they could figure out a way so that you could actually drop one of your doubles off at one location and maybe take the second double to another location and drop it off. But that's probably a little too complicated. Got 17 folks watching. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me on this Thursday evening as we talk about a variety of things. Mostly, well, the last few minutes has been about ATS and ETS2, but for folks, if you are new to the stream, I would appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button and also click the like button if you would be so kind. And if you have any questions about FarmSim 19 or FarmSim 17, feel free to post those in the chat. We've got a few folks that are quite knowledgeable on the goings on with FarmSim 19, which will obviously be coming out on the 20th of November. So we are well on our way inside the 2-month to go window. DC says fact sheet Friday tomorrow. Yep, we should have one. Anyone want to take a guess as to what we will see? Gosh, I don't know. I would almost be willing to to wager that they might save the last of the John Deere, or whatever that's going to be, until we get a little bit closer to the November 20th release, just because obviously everybody, and no, I'm not going to take that driver update, just because everybody is obviously just loving and chomping at the bit that we've got John Deere. So maybe it's going to be something else. The stuff we saw in the video today could be. That kind of makes sense, Farmer Klein, especially, since they put that out today. They follow it up with a lot more information tomorrow. I don't remember, for any of you folks that were around during the time between Farm Sim 13 and Farm Sim 15, did Giants do this amount of communication and the fact sheets and all the hype and everything right before Farm Sim 15 released? Did they do that, or did they just basically start that with 17? Because I didn't get into the 15 craze until it had already been out for a couple of months, and I don't recall what they did as far as marketing and all that stuff. Started with 17. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. That's kind of what I thought. And I've got to say, I mean, they did a great job last time at 17 with all the hype and the marketing and stuff like that. I really felt like that was what they needed to do, and glad that they did, because it really gets us excited, I think. And Bag of Hammers, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Of course, they might also, since when did we learn about the milk? That was this week, wasn't it? So I suppose it could be something related to milk. It could be whatever milk tanker or whatever that they're going to put into the game, because I would assume that they would obviously need to do that since they don't really have anything, I think, now. I think pretty much the milk stuff is all modded third-party stuff. So it could be that, could be something related to that. So of the 14, 15 folks that we have watching the stream, are you all PC gamers? Anybody a console gamer? Hey Scott, nice to see you. He says PC. Okay. Bag of Hammers is PC. Genetic J is PC, and Johnny is a little bit of both PC and console, depends on the game. Okay. I think Farmer Klein plays on his Commodore 64, don't you? Just kidding, of course. Or am I? I absolutely love my Commodore 64. That was cool. I would, of course, you got to kind of be of a certain age to even know what a Commodore 64 was, and all of that stuff. But I used to, back in the day, used to buy these magazines and the magazines had the various programming code and everything where you could type it in and code your own games. And of course, initially when the Commodore 64 first came out, the only thing, what I had to save to was that data set, the cassette tape device, which took forever because it basically took whatever speed the cassette tape ran to load or save the programs, and then at some point got a disk drive, a floppy disk drive at that, and then I think right before I switched over to PC, which would have been probably about 89 or 90, I think, I had 2 floppy drives. So man, I was absolutely cooking with gas at that particular point in time, because I could use, like, for example, if I was using like a word processing application, I could have it on one disk drive loading the application, and then obviously write and save my documents to the second floppy drive. Jamie Burt says, Impossible Mission was my favorite game on the 64. Cool. I don't remember that. My favorite game on the Commodore 64 was actually Flight Sim, and that version of Flight Sim actually became it was sold to Microsoft and eventually became Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I played a few other things. And then got into a PC, like I said. I think it was probably about 1990, I think, now that I think about it. And then just really never looked back. I had the only console gaming that I ever did was the Atari 2600, and before that was Pong, connected to our TV set in the living room. That sort of gave a whole new meaning to family game night right there. I'm actually surprised at the number of Commodore 64s that are actually still in operation today. One of my other hobbies is ham radio, amateur radio, and there's a number of folks that are still running Commodore 64s for packet radio, data radio, and I wish I still had mine. I would love to fire it up, and I do have my old my Atari 2600 and my game cartridges, and it's been probably a couple of years since I fired it up. These old cows just walk back and forth. Walk walk out to the pasture and walk back. Have I seen the mouse that runs all around the farm? This farm? I have not seen a mouse. If there's a mouse that runs all over the farm, we definitely should have a cat that's chasing after it. But no, I've not seen a mouse on this map. I've seen the fox on Shamrock. At least I think it's a fox. Looks like a fox. Not sure if there's other animals or not on Shamrock. Hopefully that snake is not on there. I absolutely despise that thing. Can't remember what map that was on. Alright, well the rain stopped, but of course our grass rows are a little bit less than they were before, but that's okay. We've got plenty of grass, plenty of silage we'll have. So Farmer Klein says starts at the creamery trash can outside and then runs around back through the cow pasture, back around the sheds, and then around front by the street and repeats. Okay, well we'll go see if we can see that here momentarily. Of course, Eustace Pharmer may have he may have taken the mouse out or something. I don't think he would have, but he didn't mention that to me. So if the forecast is true, it will mean that we've had rain every game day this summer. With this being the first game day of summer, and rain was not forecasted, and then obviously the next I missed that row. The next 5 game days have rain in the forecast. Duck found a fellow fowl on Shamrock. Yeah, I bet he did. Maybe it's one of his. Maybe it's one of his offspring. Let's see. Do we have it all? We'll get this little bit here until we fill her up. There we go. All right, I think what we'll do is we'll leave that right there and let that empty. We'll go over here and see if we can see the mouse. Let me read Farmer Klein's. Starts at the creamery trash can outside and runs around back through the cow pasture and around. So we'll be careful over here because we'll probably hear that music in just a minute. The trash can. Go away, music. So is this the trash can, Farmer Klein? Of course, we could sit here all day and not see it. Snake was on Sandy Bay. Yeah, that's right, DC. Yeah, I just hate snakes. They just they just really creep me out. I'll tell you a little story. When I was about maybe 6 years old, 7 years old, my dad. It's a round one with trash by it. Okay, my dad built me a tree house, and a round one with trash around. Anyway, my dad built me a tree house, and absolutely loved it, and used to spend quite a bit of time in my tree house. And so one day, I crawled up into the tree house, and it had like a wooden ladder, and it had a door on it. And so basically, about the time that my face was level with the floor of the tree house, I would flip a switch or flip a latch on the door. And let's see, there's a trash can over there with some trash on it, or nearby. And I would flip that switch or that latch, and I don't want to get a copyright strike with that music, and I know that I might do that. Anyway, I would flip the latch and I would walk in the treehouse. Well, I had some older kids um, that lived next door to me, and they had found a snake. And I grew up in Texas, and it was probably a water moccasin. It was pretty good size snake. They had chopped the head off, but they had coiled the snake up in the top of the treehouse. And so, like I said, I was about 6 or 7 years old and climbed up the ladder, hit the latch on the door swung open, and there was this coiled up snake. And of course, I couldn't tell that the head was not on it. I just saw a snake and then fell out, and surprised I didn't break my leg or my arm or my neck or anything else. But anyway, ever since that point in time, I have just literally been afraid of snakes. So that's a little story that you weren't aware of before now. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I am going to call this stream good for tonight, and may be back on sometime this weekend. Most likely will not be streaming tomorrow night. I think tomorrow is going to be date night, and so all that. But anyway, thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with me tonight, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Hopefully you don't have any snags at work and don't end up having to work super late. And I hope you have a nice weekend, and be safe out there. I appreciate you watching. God bless you all. We'll see you next time here on South Mountain Creamery. Bye bye for now.